Hi everyone. Thank you so much for being patient around this video upload. So I've been getting a lot of questions about Canary CREST, and I'm so happy to be sharing that with you guys today. This is my first upload, so please bear with me. I will try to share my screen. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for being patient around the upload, like I mentioned. So I was a summer intern for Canary CREST last summer, so summer 2022. I applied for the internship around January, Feb, and like most of you guys, I'm sure I submitted it until the very last second. And that's not something that I'm proud of, but I'm being very realistic and very transparent with the information that I provide because I can only speak for myself and the information that definitely worked for me and has worked for me in all my internship experience that I have. So I have a slide up here which shows a little bit of my stats as a student and how I was able to successfully apply, go through the internship, present my poster, and all of that. And at the end, you also receive a certificate of achievement. So I did receive that as well. So yeah, here we go for the Q&A. The deadline, I believe, is February 6th. So it's coming up in about 4 days. To be quite honest with you, like I said, I was kind of rushing through the application and I did it last minute. So it took me anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to answer all the questions. I haven't logged back into the portal to see if the questions are changed, but there were about, I want to say, 4 essay questions. There was no fee whatsoever to apply. And the stipend is $4,000, which was advertised in the website last year when I applied, but I'm not sure if they took, I think they took that down, so I'm not sure what the stipend will look like this year. Um, so from what I know is that the application is open to students living in the United States. I'm not sure if it's open to international students. So if you're an international student currently going to school here in the US, then you are eligible, I do believe. But if you're if you're living out of the country to apply for this internship, I'm not sure if you're eligible. I will need to double check on that. But for sure, most of the candidates were from Ivy League schools. The cohort was around 25 students. Some came from other universities too, like private universities or um public as well, I do believe. Though like the schools that are not from California, I'm not 100% familiar with, but there were for sure most people were not from California. Um And in terms of the other students that were obviously not me, thus they definitely had some research experience. I do believe they had at least 1 or 2 previous research experiences, but the application says it's not required. Um, so one thing I will say about that is that most of the research done at Stanford during the summer, no one will have any idea about it at all. So it's completely brand new. A lot of the labs, a lot of the work is very, very, very cutting edge. It's very, very new. So a lot of labs are working on very intricate, like Stanford only type of projects, and they it really will be a very unique experience. So a lot of the students, every student actually that was doing the internship was um, feeling some kind of anxiety, some kind of nerves in the beginning because we all did not know really what we were signing up for if we had not done this before. So most of us this was our first time with Canary CREST, so every summer you can actually apply to this and you can continue going through the as long as you are an undergrad student, and I do believe some people had also graduated. So there were a couple that were applying for the MCAT that I talked to. So it's not just for undergrads, I do believe. But it is kind of catered towards undergrads to receive the mentorship and all that. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But so the California students, the out-of-state students did receive an extra stipend for traveling in and out of California. So if you're not from California, then you do receive that extra stipend. So whatever the cost of your flight was, they'll pay for that in and out of California. And then the California students not in the Bay Area did receive an extra traveling stipend and had to live 50-mile radius away from Stanford to receive the stipend. For Bay Area students, only $4,000 were given to us. So yeah, because we're Bay Area students. So I live in San Jose. So my stats, I am a non-traditional student. I am from community college. I go to San Jose City College. I am from Latino background. I'm first gen and low income as well. So I know that all those factors definitely do help. And as some people would say, like those being from a disadvantaged background helps your application, but also living in a disadvantaged lifestyle is pretty hard. So just gonna put that out there. If anyone else is, feeling that, then I totally understand, because I do think it has helped shaped my experience as a student and shaped my experience into the things and programs that I've done have helped me become a more empathetic person and has helped me apply myself even harder to try to achieve some of the things that other students have had at a 4-year. So from a community college standpoint, it is pretty hard to gain research experience. Yeah, my personal statement, one of the questions was about my mom that I answered, and my mom did go through cervical cancer last year, and I'm an only child, so I had to take care of her, and ended up losing my job from that because I had to take care of my mom. So it was a very difficult experience, but that really helped shape me into really seeing what it's like to live with someone with a cancer diagnosis, and really hearing those words and really wanting something better for my Latino community in cervical cancer screening and testing. So I did write a lot about that. It was a very obviously impactful experience, and I'm sure not everyone has an experience like that to share. So my advice to people who have asked me about how to start the application and how to write the impactful personal statements are to really look at the research that's being done and really try to align yourself, really try to see where you will most find, or where you will find the most joy in the research that you're doing, because you're going to be there for 10 weeks and some part of you has to love what you're doing, and then maybe not in and out all day every day, but you really do have to enjoy it to some degree. Yeah, my GPA is not a 4.0. It's gonna put that out there. It's not even close. I'm too embarrassed to say my GPA, but it's not a 4.0 and it's not close. So been in community college for a while. and now I'm sharing my story. um, my CV is quite extensive. I've done a lot of research experience, and I've had a lot of not a lot, I'd say some industry experience. And I've done like volunteering at hospitals and stuff and labs. So definitely I switched majors before. Um, I've switched my major like 3 times since I graduated high school. So now I really know I want to be pre-med and that I want to go into this. I really have had the time to experience a lot of avenues towards pre-med, and I'm sharing the ones that definitely help for me. I do have a lot of previous research experience at Stanford, so I've done like unpaid internships, paid internships, the professional internships, and the non-professional ones as well. And I was not currently employed at the time of my application, so I don't remember if I wrote that on the application. I might have, but if you're definitely working, say that, Stanford shows rigor. So currently working, you should say that. Um, the program itself, some students I know were interviewed before, and some were not. So some were interviewed. I think they had a video interview by their PIs or postdocs, and it was a bit unclear as to why some were interviewed and others were not. Um, but I mean, we all made it. It doesn't really matter how you got there as long as you're there, and we were all there and we all had the same experience. So that's, what I'm really grateful for. Um, the program was 10 weeks long and it was in person full time. So this was after the pandemic. If you catch COVID, you will be forced to stay home and you can't work on campus at all. I say that from personal experience, and I caught COVID. Um, if any of my PIs are watching this or my program is watching this, I got really angry. Oh my God. It's because I was living at home with my mom and my mom was in remission. She's still in remission. Uh, and I don't really care what happens to me. I just don't want to bring COVID home. And me and my mom had not caught COVID at all. Um, and then something happened and I caught COVID. Me and one other girl at the same time caught COVID from the program. And I got really upset because I had to miss a week of my work and I could not be on campus. And looking back on it, that extra week of learning time would have actually helped me because for me the learning curve was very large, so I had to learn a lot of information and I kind of had to do everything on not 9 weeks of mentoring and not 10, and that really upset me. So, Canary CREST did the best it could, but um, I was very angry for my mom. But actually, she didn't catch COVID at all. I thought she did, but she didn't. So, I'm very grateful for that, and I my infection was fine. So, yeah. So the culture, I would say, is definitely it was pretty cool. It was very warm and welcoming. I know that some labs were more rigorous than others, so some professors might ask you to be on time and to yeah, wear a lab coat or to, follow the protocols of their lab. And then some were less rigorous than others. So my lab was in a different building. So we had time after a lecture to go to go to our lab at a different time. So we weren't um, as closely monitored for that as some of the labs were. So every week we had a 2-hour lecture on cancer biology. Um, for that, I really enjoyed because a lot of the professors that were teaching, that were the PIs, were teaching us some of the lectures, and they were really, really, really cool people, very understanding, very amazing. I learned so much from all the women in STEM. I am all for that. The professors were incredible. I asked them so many questions because I didn't know anything going into this. I did not know, like, I haven't taken organic chemistry, and I did this, and probably taking that course could have helped, but I had a lot to learn, and they were very patient and kind. Like I said, the topics were really interesting. We also did some team building activities with the cohort, and our cohort was around 25-ish students. And the students were so incredible. They were so kind, they were so respectful. I'm speaking from a pre-med perspective. Not all of them were pre-meds. A lot of them were engineering majors. So the work, I get a lot of these questions like, what kind of work did you do? Like, what kind of skill sets did you need? So depending on whichever lab you get, you'll either get a portion of some dry lab or some wet lab. And some are more dry than others. Some have more like cell culture type of stuff. So some have mice colonies. So definitely, I would say be honest about your skill sets when you're applying. Do not lie on your application. I did not lie on my application. I never lie on my applications because I know what it's like seeing it from other people, that not that they lie, but just seeing how much people struggle if they did not know, uh if for example, I talked to someone in the cohort who said they didn't know how to code. So they spent a long time, a lot of weeks learning how to code, and coding was a big portion of what their research ended up being. So please, 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 please be incredibly honest on your application. Do not lie. Um, if you know how to code, if you're an incredible coder, if you're, um, you know, into bioinformatics, something like that, like really be honest if that is your passion, if that's what you're pursuing. And yes, you will do great. And if you don't know how to code, be honest. I do not know how to code. Do not write that on there because you might have a terrible time, or you might learn how to code. If you want to learn how to code this summer, go ahead. But just warning you guys, I know for a fact I have never worked with mice. I do not want to work with mice moving forward. I don't know how I'm going to. It just feels, it feels scary to me. So I for sure said I did not want um, invasive treatments of cancer. So my app was written around how much I want to find a cure for cancer, and find not a cure for cancer, but how to figure out different methodologies to monitor and target cancer via different therapies. So um, the clinical research that I've done at Stanford has been non-invasive treatments of cancer. So that is moving forward. I think what I would want to do are minimally invasive. And I think as technology progresses, that's where we're going, is minimally invasive anyway. So don't like to work with mice. I very specifically just putting that out there. If you don't want to work with mice, don't write that on them. And if you love working with mice, I'm not judging you. Go ahead. There are labs that I know for sure will work with mice colonies. So some labs have a partner and some do not. I had a partner. She was great. She came from Brown University. She put up with me. If she's watching this, I'm sorry. She just knew more than me, and she helped me a lot. Um, yeah, some labs will have two students working with a PI, and some will just have one. Um, and some, well, I think a lot of them had a postdoc there. So I worked with my postdoc too. She was amazing. She had a lot of patience as well. So I'd say try to have the best possible relationship with your mentors, with the postdocs. Um, they're so warm and welcoming and incredibly patient, incredibly patient. I'm telling you this from experience. I did not know anything, like at all. I did not know how to cell culture and freeze cells, and I didn't really know my way around a lab that well. And they really went above and beyond to help me, and that's why I would love for everyone to go and do this internship because it's amazing. Um, yeah, so the PIs are always very busy working on their own research, so they might not always have the time to answer your questions. But yeah, make sure to just vocalize anything you need. Everyone will be there for you for sure. So about the faculty, yes, definitely look on the website and see the affiliated faculty with Canary CREST. I think it's about like 12-ish PIs that are participating, and really try to envision yourself within one of those labs and see which one best aligns with you. Don't really try to mold, like I know I wrote that try to tailor to fit into that lab. Mm, I'd say there's a little bit of that. Like I I knew I wanted minimally invasive treatment of cancer, but I didn't really know how any lab would incorporate anything like that. So I was honest about what I wanted, and then it turned out that the lab that I was with wasn't working with invasive treatment. So that just like was like pretty spot on to what I needed. I know the other labs would have probably been harder for me. Um, but yeah, really try to envision yourself with one of them. Um, Also feel free to reach out before the application is due, during. Um, I believe I heard back late May or early May. So feel free to reach out to um, the admin around next steps, what you could be doing to prepare for interviews. Just try to do the best you can to prepare for the internship, even though you don't know you got it right. Just try to maintain those lines of communication open. Um, Presentation skills are definitely something you're going to need towards the end because the internship culminates in a symposium. So what I should have done and I didn't do because like I said I caught COVID, so I was hustling to try to like have my cells be part of the experiment and get data from them, and it was a lot for me to learn in 9 weeks instead of 10. So I didn't really have a lot of time to practice on my presentation skills, and my symposium I feel could have gone better. So I want everyone that's going through this to really um, envision yourself giving a great presentation and really just make a slideshow for yourself. Go over the data you're collecting. Um, yeah, present in front of your PI, in front of other students, anyone that can help you. I think that would be really beneficial. I know my PI was really busy, so we didn't really get to talk about how the presentation would go. I printed it on the day that it was supposed to be presented. I was running behind. It was hard, but I got it done, and then I got my certificate, and I'm proud of myself. So, um, yeah, so the poster session was a little bit hard for me because I had never presented before at a symposium. So if you have a poster slash symposium experience, then channel all that beautiful public speaking energy into this. And everyone is very welcoming. Like I've said throughout this video, everyone is understanding. Um, they will not judge you. They will not, you know, make you feel some type of way about not knowing something about your own research, because that did happen to me like once. I think it was my first presentation. It was my first presentation for like that time slot. So then as more people kept coming to my poster, then I kept getting better at it. And a lot of people will tell you that, and it is definitely true. Um, so yes, really, really try to learn the most you can about your research. When you're putting it together, have no doubt in your mind about how you will describe something that you've done over the summer. Um, and yeah, so every faculty, staff member, student, some people flew in their families. Um, they can come up to you and they can ask you questions, so please be aware. Um, Presentation skills are not your strong suit. I mean, still go for it. I went for it. I'm talking to you guys right now, and anyone on the internet can watch this video. So yeah, don't feel judged. We're all here to learn and help each other. Um, like I said, no one there was judgmental from what I saw. Every student was treated with the utmost respect and kindness. I know Stanford can be a bit nerve-wracking to some people, especially presenting in front of PIs, like MD, PhDs, like you name it. The most intelligent people in the world are in that room, and they could ask you questions. So yes, don't let that get you in any way. I'm still standing here. It was completely fine. It was very fun. It was really, really fun. Um, yes, so don't stress out on the application. Y'all got this. I get so many questions asking me about Canary CREST. I'm so happy to answer them. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to message on the subreddit. Yes, Community College Pre-MD. Yeah, hopefully this was informative. If you guys have any and all other questions, please feel free to share.